everyone, welcome to Wonder Girl Tarot. This is a pick a card reading entitled, What Do They Hate About You? As you already know if you clicked on it. There are so many readings right now on YouTube with titles like, What Do They Love About You? Or What Do They Think is Really, Really Hot? So this is a sort of subversive reading, but I don't actually intend it to be negative, because the way I'm thinking about it is, what are those qualities that other people find really annoying about you? Or perhaps that you dislike about yourself? Maybe things that you were shamed for as a child, or that you've kind of disowned, you try to disguise or not let people see when they don't know you very well, which may actually be hidden strengths, kind of like the shadow side or something like Jung talks about. So we're going to look at, I've got 3 decks here for you to choose from, and I've picked 3 cards from each deck. I haven't seen them yet. And we're going to look at first, why would these be qualities that would be negative, that somebody else might really dislike? And then how might they actually be positive things that could be strengths that you could really embrace and use in your life? And so this is actually an empowering reading rather than a sort of gossipy one, or at least that's my intention. So I've got 3 decks here. Like I said, I've picked 3 cards and from each one, and there's a crystal on each one to help you choose. The Cosmic Tarot by Norbert Luge, we have green tourmaline. I don't know if you can see, it's sort of hard to see in this light, but it's quite beautiful. In the Gummy Bear Tarot, we've got a garnet pendant. And the Rider-Waite, we've got these 2 coral beads. So you can choose based on the stones, or if your eyes feel drawn to a particular pile, you can also look down at the timestamps that I'll include and see if you're drawn to a particular time number. That sometimes helps. Or you can place your hand kind of above the piles, like on the screen, and see if one of them has a kind of warmth. It seems weird that would work virtually, but it does. So whichever one you're drawn to, or you can listen to all of them for fun and see if one of them resonates more for you than another. Or perhaps you have many qualities that people dislike and you can listen to all of them. Anyways, I'm going to start with the Cosmic Tarot by Norbert Luge, and I'll set the other 2 aside. Okay, so let's see what we got. The Empress, the Tower, and the 5 of Swords. Interesting. You seem to be quite a powerful person, I would say. And I'm going to start with the 5 of Swords because it's quite obvious to see why somebody would dislike this quality. So the 5 of Swords is Venus in Aquarius. Here you've got a guy lying down and taking a rest. Swords represent mental, cerebral energy, and 5 of Swords in the regular Rider-Waite deck, it shows a guy who's gone around after a battle and picked up all the swords, and he's kind of smug. He's won. It often represents like an empty victory of some sort. And so it can represent somebody who wants to win at all costs. Maybe people feel that you're very competitive, or that you care more about how you appear than more sweet emotional connection. Five of Swords can also represent silent treatment, so somebody who withdraws a lot. Maybe people feel that you're too independent, that you care, you're sort of out there for yourself. They don't feel that they can really count on you because you are somebody who's kind of either in it to win it or who regularly retreats. Maybe you're somebody who ghosts people or who doesn't reply to, that is the definition of ghosting, somebody who doesn't reply to calls or emails for long periods of time. Or maybe you just withdraw into yourself and people don't know what's going on. It seems like whatever it is, perhaps they feel like they have to be a bit guarded around you because you are a law unto yourself in some way. So then we have the Tower. You're somebody who goes through a lot of changes. And maybe that's why you withdraw a lot into yourself. And maybe this is frustrating for people who crave somebody that they can depend on. It's annoying because that's not you. You're always your house is on fire. You've got some sort of drama all the time, or you're somebody who regularly changes and transforms. So as soon as they feel like they've got a handle on who you are, you go and change it all up again. And they don't really know where they stand. They don't know who you are. They don't know. It's like there isn't a firm foundation. It's always shifting and changing and transforming. So you may be quite a mercurial person. Like swords represent the energy of air. And so you may be very difficult to read and a bit of a shapeshifter. Now the Empress is normally a really positive card. The Empress is somebody who's very abundant and beautiful. So maybe people are envious. Maybe they think that you're very beautiful or that you're able to get what you want, that you're wealthy. It seems like they might hate you because you're so wonderful. The Empress represents Venus and Taurus. So, like I said at the beginning, it seems like you're a very dynamic person, somebody that people admire, that draws a lot of attention, but perhaps there's something about you that's quite solitary or difficult to get a read on, and maybe you make people feel insecure in some way in themselves, like they can't count on you, or they're less beautiful, or they don't know who you are in some way, that they can't tell what your intentions are. Maybe they kind of place you quite high up, like putting somebody on a pedestal. Okay, so now how are these positive qualities? Well, it's quite clear with the Empress that it's positive to be beautiful, to be abundant, to be able to create things. The Empress can be a mother, somebody with children, somebody who has a lot of imagination and creativity and is connected to the earth and nature. These may be qualities that you try to suppress, as I was thinking at the beginning of the video, that maybe you don't own your own beauty in some way, or you don't own your ability to bring your visions into the real world. Maybe you haven't realized the strength you have to go through transformations. I'm looking at the Empress and the Tower together, and I'm thinking the Tower is sudden shocks and changes. I think it's a Scorpio card. And the Empress is abundance and beauty. So there's something very beautiful about your ability to navigate the shocks and changes that you're forced to experience and to transform inside yourself. There's a lot of strength in your ability to be continually transforming and emerging strong and beautiful. There's some kind of connection with the earth and the seasons. The Empress is very connected to the changing seasons, like Demeter, the harvest. So whenever you experience a big upheaval or challenge, you are able to transform that into something abundant, that you can gain something from it, some sort of knowledge or wisdom, or you become a new person, you're regenerated. And the Five of Swords, so withdrawal, silent treatment, wanting to win. The positive side of this is that other people may not like that you're not always available, that you withdraw into yourself, that you go quiet. But this is the ability to be on your own side, to have a belief in yourself, and to not always be in other people's business. This guy's, in a desert. He's gone out into the desert and he's pitched his swords in the ground like he's staking out his territory, and he's just resting in this barren place. And I'm thinking this is like after the tower has crumbled, there's just this empty, barren place, and that may be the place inside yourself where it can appear like there's nothing growing on these trees, that there's no water, and maybe you're able to realize that you're in a desert, that you have nothing to contribute, and that it's just a time to rest. So I'm thinking that you have the ability to recognize what season you're in and to be honest somehow. The swords have to do with communication, so maybe sometimes you have nothing to say, and that's the truest thing. So I'm thinking that you're a truth teller, and sometimes the truth is silence. And like I've already said, you have the ability to go through a lot of challenges and difficulties and come out of them again. And you can really own this, that it seems like you're very good at knowing when to not care what other people think, actually, and to find your own strength and beauty inside of you. It's something that emanates, and maybe that's what people are envious of, that there's just this dynamism that kind of wells up from inside you, and it's not like you're trying to be a certain way. You just are yourself for yourself, and that's beautiful. So what do people hate? Well, they hate that you don't seem to need them, and they're a little bit envious, and they feel a little bit insecure. And what can you take from this? Well, you don't need to feel guilty, is what I'm thinking, for the fact that people can't always depend on you, or that you somehow shine from the inside out, and that you're unlike other people in some respect. The stone that went with this one is the green tourmaline, and that has to do with love and the heart chakra. And I made a note of what these stones mean. I'm just going to read it. It supports strength, stamina, and virility, and helps to connect to the earth and heal the heart. And it has to do with love. So I'm thinking that you're very, very strong. And what is virility? Well, it's creativity. And so I think you're a very creative person. And maybe this is something that you haven't completely acknowledged. And so you could do with opening your heart to that. And the Empress, like I said, it's Venus and Taurus. So there's something here to do with love. Perhaps you're somebody who loves very deeply, but this doesn't always come across because you can also really withdraw. So I hope this was illuminating for you. I hope it was helpful. This is sort of an experiment. And so yeah, let me know what you think. But leave me a comment and like, share, and subscribe the video if you enjoy. And I'm going to move on to the next pile, the Gummy Bear Tarot. Okay. Welcome if you picked the Gummy Bear Tarot with the garnet crystal. Let's see what we got here. What do people hate about you? Okay, well, we have the King of Wands, a Judgment card, and the Moon. Okay, well, the King of Wands is a very dynamic person. Like pile one, I'm thinking people may be a little bit envious of your strength of character. Perhaps they think you're a little bit controlling. Do you tell people what to do a lot? Or do you always have a clear idea of the best action to take? You may be good at giving orders, or you may just always be the one to take charge and have things done your way. Maybe you're a little bit of an alpha sort of person in your friend group or your family. You may have lots of ideas. And the King of Wands, negative things of the King of Wands, maybe you lose your temper sometimes. You're probably quite a passionate person, and people may find you to be too forceful. They may feel overshadowed by you. And at the same time, they find you very difficult to read. We have the Moon here. The Moon has to do with secrets, illusions, things that are difficult to see. You know, it's nighttime. There are lots of shadows and things appear different than they really are. So maybe people feel that you withhold something of yourself, that they don't really know who you are. You may cast a bit of a spell. Maybe they find you very moody. You know, the moon it waxes and wanes, and so perhaps sometimes you're this bright and dynamic person, and other times you're very melancholy or withdrawn. You could be, sad or even rude or something. They don't really know how to get a handle on you. And they wish that you would just kind of like pick something to be for them so that they would know where they stood. The Judgment card in the middle. Well, Judgment has to do with making choices, judgments, things that return from the past, people who return from the past. Maybe you're somebody who comes and goes in people's life. So just when they think that you're gone, there you come again. And they find this very frustrating. They kind of hate it. You also might be somebody who makes judgments on things. So maybe you're literally sort of judgmental. You express your opinions. You say this is right and that's wrong. And you aren't very interested in what other people have to say. And you may even cut people out of your life if you don't agree with them or you decide you don't like them. You're quite a forceful person. You have the King of Wands, the highest of the wand suit, and then two major arcana, Judgment and the Moon. So as a strength, well, it's quite obvious with the King of Wands that the strength of being this way is that you're a very dynamic person, very creative and powerful, and somebody who's able to take action on their dreams and desires. Somebody who isn't overly concerned about what other people think. In fact, a very passionate person. And somebody who isn't afraid to express their opinions or to follow their dreams, follow what they want to do. I don't think it's very hard to see why this is a strength, but perhaps you're afraid of being in the spotlight, or you feel guilty, and we got this a bit in pile 1. You feel guilty to shine or to overshadow other people, perhaps. But the King of Wands is somebody who's really a leader. Wands are the fire element of fire, so you could be Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or you could just have these qualities of being somebody who's very good in the spotlight, who's very creative, who's very forceful and dynamic. And if this is who you are, then you're somebody who's really made to be seen. It's often the card of celebrity or somebody who's in a position of power or influence. So perhaps this is a root quality that you have yet to take on, that is kind of hidden in the shadows right now. Maybe you're somebody who has yet to reveal your own power and your own force because it's something that other people have trouble with. So I would really advise you to begin to assert yourself more if this really is the case. Or if you already assert yourselves a lot, know that this is one of your core qualities. It's a strength. And if other people have trouble with it, it's that expression, don't dim to fit in sort of thing. Judgment. Well, I think it's just saying that you're able to call things, you're able to know the right steps to take to make a judgment on something. That takes courage. I'd say you're somebody who has a lot of courage. And maybe you're not always able to see clearly, but you still go down that path that calls to you. Even when it's not all clear, you're able to make a decision. I'm just thinking about if there's something else. We picked the stone that goes with this pile is the garnet, which represents dreams, change, imagination, and construction. I think you're being called to build something, to take your strength of character and your good judgment. I think this is good judgment, actually. And despite perhaps your changing mood, to kind of draw on your intuition, the moon, could also be dreams, to take your dreams and to build something with them, to construct something. And to not be afraid if that means having to go back to something from the past, to revisit it. Judgment can be a return of something. Maybe this is something, maybe you draw on things from your past, like from your childhood, or even if you believe in past lives, that there's some strength you get from a return to the past, to past generations, and that you're going to be calling on that to create something. And you need to not care if other people think that you're too full of yourself, or think that you are, too moody or too unsettled, that you're too much of a dreamer. I'm getting that with the moon, that maybe you're somebody who is very, I want to say, like, assertive about their dreams, and that this is actually your strength, and that you shouldn't believe if somebody tells you that, this isn't realistic, or that there's something, or that you're too nostalgic, or something along those lines. I think that you're a powerful person who can have a lot of self-belief and trust in your visions, and that you have a strength of change and transformation too. So I hope this makes sense for you. If it did, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I will be moving on to pile 3. Okay. Hello, pile 3. Welcome if you picked the red coral on the Rider-Waite deck. Let's see what people hate about you. Okay. Well, they see you as somebody who has experienced a lot of heartbreak. Maybe they think that you spend too much time crying over difficulties and feeling burdened. This is like a gray, rainy card. Maybe you take a long time to get over heartbreaks, or you experience it as a great burden when something doesn't work out, and you hold on to it and carry it for a long time. They also see you as somebody who has everything. They think maybe you have a family, or there's a lot of potential for happiness in your life. So maybe they think that you're somebody who spends a lot of time crying when you already have it all, for no reason. They want to be like, just get over it, And that really annoys them. They think, if I had this, I wouldn't be thinking about all of these heartbreaks or whatever. I would just be rejoicing under this rainbow. And the Ten of Wands is like, this guy is carrying his wands to market. So it's like he's really burdened and borne down, but it's actually a harvest that he's in the final stages of. So maybe you're very kind of tired out by everything you've invested in something, like all of your accomplishments, and you feel exhausted and overworked, and other people are thinking, but you've accomplished so much, it's like these two tens, like kind of like you have it all. It's so annoying that you're so pessimistic or kind of like always looking at the glass half empty. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But I'm thinking that you're somebody who feels things deeply. So it could be that people think that you're too sensitive. And I'm thinking that you're easily and deeply wounded by people's words and by the things that happen. And that this is a great burden to you. But it's actually your capacity for feeling is the thing that allows you to have a great deal of joy and to connect with other people and to experience the happiness that you do experience. And that you can actually embrace this sensitivity, this ability to be wounded, because it's the same thing that allows you, that gives you a heart that allows you to love. And maybe you actually need to tend more to the parts of yourself that are wounded and burdened, to kind of gather them in and love them more. I'm really noticing this red heart on the gray background, and then the red of these coral beads. And I looked up the properties of coral before I started the video because I was interested, and it says it stimulates the pursuit of goals and protects against despondency and depression. It helps with circulation, safe travel, passion, friendship, creativity, and wisdom. And so I'm thinking that there's something in the wounds that you've experienced, in the heartaches that you've experienced. That's the key to your passion and zest for life, to your ability to connect with other people and have deep friendships. It lies in your heart and in the things that have hurt you. And it's actually going to be a motivation to you. Your pain is going to be a motivation to you to pursue your goals. And you may actually want to find some coral, if you're somebody who believes in the properties of gemstones and stuff, to protect yourself from despondency and depression. But even if you don't, I think it's actually going to help you to protect against this feeling of depression if you can really go towards it and really feel it and not reject it, not try to be like really happy, but actually feel your sadness. I remember reading in this book, Care of the Soul by Thomas More, how he said that in Renaissance times it was recommended that you have a particular portion of your garden set aside, a dark and shady place where you could go when you were feeling melancholy, and that was a healing for your spirit, and that you should wear dark clothes when you were feeling sad. So I'm thinking that maybe some people think that you're a bit like Eeyore-ish sometimes, or a bit, just a bit kind of depressive and sad, and they want to they want you to kind of like perk up and be cheerful so that they can feel good. But that actually, this is your strength, your ability to deeply feel whatever it is that you're experiencing, and that you can go towards that melancholy. And that's actually part of your ability to experience passion, and it's going to give you a lot of it's like the compost for the life that you want to grow is your inner sadness somehow. That sadness is going to lead to a harvest and to a lot of happiness, and that you need to go towards it and not away from it. So I hope that was helpful. These are short readings, but they're just an experiment. Let me know what you thought, if it resonated at all. And if you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll probably be back with more videos along these lines. So thanks so much for watching. Take very good care. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.